Hey team, what's up? Welcome. This is our third and final video of our classroom management series, and today I have two awesome tips for you today. So the first one is this idea that disengaged students are misbehaved students. And I think when we think about classroom management, we don't oftentimes think about what we could do as an instructor from a curriculum standpoint to help us with the management part of the classroom. And so once again, disengaged students are misbehaved students. And so what does that mean? Or what do I think of when I hear those things? The first one is this idea of a student's attention span. This is the idea of your age plus 2. In other words, if we have a 15-year-old student plus 2, 17, what we're saying is that they're only able to be engaged on a single activity for 17 minutes. And so since most of the kids in our building are 14 to 18, we're talking maybe a 15 to 20 minute window is what we have for most of our students to really be engaged on a single activity. And so if you come into your classroom and you want to lecture for 55 minutes, or you want to hand out a worksheet and you want them to work on it for the entire class period, chances are you're going to deal with more behavior issues in that style of sort of teaching by giving them one activity for 55 minutes. Now, on the flip of that, if you're an instructor that comes in, you got 10 minutes of lecture, you're going to work on problems individually for 15 minutes, you're going to work collectively as a group for 15 minutes going over problems, and then students are going to work in pairs on whatever, that sort of idea of changing up the instruction, changing up the style of the lesson every 15 or 20 minutes, I think what you're going to see is you're going to see more engaged students and less behavior issues. This is another buzzword here, this is bell-to-bell instruction. Making sure that there's something going on for your students from bell to bell to sort of help with them being engaged and ultimately less behavior issues. The second thing I want to kind of talk about is this idea of substitutes. Now, if you're thinking about, you're going to be missing class and you're going to be leaving lesson plans or sub plans for somebody who's going to be walking into your classroom, you can help that person out by leaving them bell-to-bell instruction. If you are going to have a substitute walk in your classroom and you're going to leave a work day, you're going to take a substitute, the kids are already going to be extra squirrely because there's going to be a substitute in the room, and you're going to be kind of setting them up for failure by allowing them an activity for 55 minutes that we know our students can't focus for more than 15 minutes on an activity at a time. And so one thing as an instructor you can do is you can leave bell-to-bell instruction. Now, I know the challenge here is that who's going to be covering your class might not actually be in your discipline area, but I'll pick on Elizabeth for a second. She did a great job of leaving this awesome lesson plan about a couple months ago. She had students watch a 15-minute TED Talk, they did a reflection and responded to some prompts after the TED Talk, and then they worked on an assignment that kind of paired with their book. That is a way you can leave sort of a passive bell-to-bell instruction that any sort of substitute can come and pick up and utilize. One final thought when we talk about substitutes, if you're an instructor that's going to walk into a classroom and cover a classroom, I don't think it's a bad idea for you to establish some level of ground rules. Whenever I substituted for several years in the district, and every once in a while I'll cover classes here in the building, I always start with 2 rules. I walk into a classroom and I give them 2 rules, 2 expectations for the day. I don't know if I'd walk in and give them 15 rules, but I think if you walk into a classroom that's not yours, you can kind of own that classroom by giving them 1 or 2 ground rules before you even get started that day. I think that that's very helpful to give you some sort of framework with the students and sort of help with some of those classroom management pieces. So hopefully you found today's video helpful. If you have watched all these videos, thank you so much. I hope you found some time to reflect and think about your own classroom instruction, your own practice, and hopefully you've been able to grow from some of these videos here. As always, I know Gordon or myself, we're super happy to talk with you, work with you, and continue to help sort of grow as a team here. Remember, every class, every day, and thank you for a few minutes of your time.